Columbia. Paxton Brooks has the ball on the tee for Tennessee. The always dangerous Deebo Samuel stands next to A.J. Turner. Deebo has yet to take one to the house this season. He did it early last year. Here we go. And Deebo will have a chance if he wants it. He will bring it out. Samuel has a seam and gets taken down right at the 20-yard line. So Jake Bentley comes out directing a South Carolina offense which is 86th in the country in rushing, 49th in passing. You know a little bit about his family background. His dad was his barber until this year, also the running backs coach, and all of his brothers quarterbacks by trade as well. So it runs in the family for Jake Bentley. 6'4", 224, 15-10 as a starter. Carolina looking for more production from their running game. Tyson Williams is the starting tailback. This is Williams. And he finds a couple on first down.
That's going to be an important storyline here to watch, Tom. Tyson Williams, Rico Dowdle, they got to get this running game going. We were talking to Brian McClendon, the offensive coordinator. And Bentley struggles in turnovers. He's at his best when this offense is balanced. They've got to establish the run.
Little delay. And this is Williams. Cortez Sapp in on his second tackle of the game. We might look back at that handoff going forward. Just one little thing that they do with Bentley to try to buy some time.
Yeah, they love that pistol formation where the quarterback's in a shorter shotgun. The running back lines up directly behind the quarterback. The reason they do that, you force the defense to be balanced. You don't tip your hand or create any rhythms or things that the defense can really tee off on based on that running back's alignment.
A very average Carolina offense. They've converted on 40% of the third downs this season, 64th out of 130. 7 drop for Tennessee. And a crossing route for Deebo Samuel, but brought down shy of the marker. Tackled by Darren Kirkland.
What a great stop early on for Tennessee. When you have a team that's in rebuild mode, you have a bunch of new faces and players on both sides of the football. Really important to get the big M, the momentum, and a big stop by that defense early on will help this offense on their first drive.
So Bentley and the Gamecocks offense back to the sideline. Joseph Charlton, first in school history and career average per punt at 44. Marquez Callaway for Tennessee asked for a fair catch, and he receives it at the 28. So 44-yard punt that time. Jared Garantano will come out as a starting quarterback for Tennessee tonight. He's a redshirt sophomore, 6 touchdowns, 2 picks, a New Jersey native. His dad played wide receiver at Rutgers, while Butch Jones was at Rutgers as an assistant. Butch now on the Alabama staff. You may have seen him smoking cigars last week. That seemed to be a big storyline. But we do expect to see both Tennessee quarterbacks on the field today, both Garantano and Keller Chris off the bench, the Stanford transfer. Ty Chandler in the backfield. Toss to Chandler. And 3 yards on first down. Bryson Allen Williams with the stop. We've been talking the last couple days about this game, and it's just really hard to figure out which team is going to show up. You have a thought one way or another?
I don't, because there's so many new faces. I mean, for starters, there's a new left tackle, as we alluded to. No Trey Smith. Marcus Tatum starting at left tackle. DJ Wanham back on the defensive line for South Carolina. That's a matchup to watch all night.
They blitz over that left side, complete to Callaway. Couldn't get any help from Eli Wolf. Jamias Williams in on the stop. It's a gain of 5.
And fellas, they had a lot of problems picking up games, twists, stunts on that Alabama defensive front last week. And I talked to Travaris Robinson, the South Carolina defensive coordinator. He said, we don't like to go much more than 5-man pressures. We'll give them a little bit, but we won't do more this week than we've done any other week this season.
I went right over Marcus Tatum at that left tackle spot last time. 3rd down 3 for Tennessee.
DJ Wonnum right over Tatum once again.
We got a flag, and we'll hear from our officials for the first time.
Substitution infraction. Offense. 12 players in formation. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
James Carter, our referee. There's T-Rob, as he's known, Travaris Robinson, the defensive coordinator for South Carolina.
Tell you one thing, that penalty might have been a good thing. You'll never want to take a 5-yard penalty. But Jarrett Garantano is better than anybody on 3rd and 7 and 9, 3rd long, completing 80% of his passes. He's comfortable in this situation.
See if the line holds on 3rd and 8. Garantano off his back foot. And it's overthrown, looking for Eli Wolf. The teams trade punts here in the early going. Joe Doyle is a Tennessee punter. Brian Edwards in punt return for South Carolina. Edwards asks for the fair catch. Takes it back around the 17. 52-yard punt. 3 and outs to start here in a fantastic crowd in Carolina. Jake Bentley is the readiest, brought to you by Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah, Jake Bentley, better than a lot of quarterbacks, uses the entire field, works through every progression. When you're playing defense and you're preparing for Jake Bentley, you got to make sure the entire field is accounted for. Even on run plays, on a play he's supposed to keep it. This is not your traditional RPO, but he finds the receiver, nobody downfield, and his playmakers have been making plays. He's a guy that'll beat you before the snap if you let him. Got to cover the entire field. He can go anywhere with the ball.
He's completed 61% of his passes, 10 touchdowns, but 7 interceptions for Bentley. And he will hand it off on 1st down as South Carolina looks to establish the run, and they get extra push. Tyson Williams running it. You mentioned DJ Wonnum returning on the defensive side of the ball. His brother Dylan is getting the start at right tackle tonight for South Carolina. He's the 310-pound freshman from Tucker High School in Georgia.
And a guy that's really flourished from the young guy scrimmages that South Carolina has every week.
Here's Brian Edwards. Edwards secures it and takes it for a 1st down. Porte Sapp another stop. And Edwards gets up limping.
Edwards is a huge part of this offense. 6'3", 220, the most physically imposing guy they have. Wonnum, though, he's a guy they brought in because of his physicality. And sometimes you'll get a chance to see that as a young player. But they have these Sunday scrimmages where if he didn't play a lot in the game, Will Muschamp gets his young guys out there. They go good on good, and they can start to evaluate some of these young guys. And that's why he's out there right now.
High school teammate with Josh Vann, who just entered. Bentley going to Vann, and he's got a great catch for a South Carolina 1st down. Pardon me, it's Casey Crosby from the tight end spot, and it's a gain of 15.
South Carolina loves to attack the middle of the field, whether it's verticals or dig routes. It's an area that Jake Bentley and these receivers are really comfortable operating in.
Jacob August now enters at the H-back position. Carolina will rotate 4 different guys through at that spot. Bentley waits, fires, and it's incomplete. Hesitation cost him as Alontae Taylor, the freshman, knocked it down. And now Vann is slow to get to his feet.
Big hit there. This is an RPO, a run-pass option. Bentley reads a linebacker, trying to squeeze it in a tight window there.
Vann coming off the field after he got spun around on that hit.
Man, really good coverage there by another true freshman, Alontae Taylor. Getting an opportunity on the outside along with Bryce Thompson. Tennessee's got 2 true freshman on the outside.
Bentley, RPO, it's batted up in the air, and it is hauled in by Tennessee. Intercepted by Shy Tuttle. Daniel Batuli knocked it in the air, and the tip drill turns into the first pick of the season for Tuttle.
This is such a heads-up play by number 35, Daniel Batuli. You're going to see he's going to start in on the run, and then when he realizes it's an RPO and Bentley's going to pull it, he's going to get his hands up at the last second and make a heck of a play. You see him step up to play the run, realizes it's going to be a pass. And that's a great heads-up play, and the big man coming down with it.
Tennessee with the takeaway. Now they're set up with a short field. Garantano changes direction. Out of the backfield, Ty Chandler, and he loses a yard if he didn't get back to the line. J.C. Horn in with the stop. Another look at Tuttle's pick.
See Daniel Batuli there batting that ball. That's a quarterback's worst nightmare. Anytime that ball goes up in the air around the line of scrimmage, it's never a good result.
South Carolina killed by the turnovers, not just giving it away, but they failed to take it away. And Will Muschamp said we've got to be better defensively going after the football. Tim Jordan in at tailback for Tennessee. A little bubble, and this is Chandler, who's lined up out in the slot, and he picks up 6.
Ty Chandler's got the biggest role in this football game. You got a banged-up quarterback in Jarrett Garantano that's been playing well, but need to take some hits on him. Those quick throws to the outside to your tailback, Ty Chandler, who's as good out of the backfield as he is running the football. Crucial to keeping hits off Jarrett Garantano and moving the sticks.
And it's weird that they would bring him out on 3rd and 5 since he's been so good in the passing game. Everything got out of rhythm on that one. Ty left side of the line with Tatum, and Carvin moved after Garantano clapped his hands.
False start. Offense. Number 68. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Cole, in an environment like this, when you're going with a silent count, what are the keys for offensive linemen?
Well, especially out there at tackle time, is locating the football, knowing when the ball's going to be snapped. But in this loud environment, it's probably going to be a silent count. So you just can't try to get a jump on that defensive lineman. You have to watch the football or watch your particular keys to know when you're going to enter into that pass set.
So once Carvin moved, Tatum moved.
And Garantano had a signal to the wide receiver there. So those linemen were waiting a little longer than they thought. You add the noise, there's a false start.
Untouched from the edge, and they get the pass off complete to Chandler, but a flag down. And Garantano with sleight of hand to even get that off. He's already been planted in the sod tonight.
Outside. Defense. Number 4 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty. Replay 3rd down.
So Tennessee gets 5 yards back after Bryson Allen Williams came untouched.
And you see the indicator. When there's noise, the quarterback's going to give a point down. The center's going to see it. He's going to snap the ball. If you only ever go on that 1 point, the defense is going to start to try to time that up. As you see Bryson Allen Williams there almost making a really good play. Wouldn't be surprised if they go on the 2nd point at some point here in this drive.
Garantano takes another monster hit. He left the Alabama game early because of that. 3-man rush. Complete to Callaway, and he's got a Tennessee 1st down. We were talking with the Tennessee coaching staff, and Jeremy Pruitt said, yes, our quarterback has taken a lot of hits, and sometimes that is indeed on the offensive line. But a quarterback's also responsible for a lot of the protection calls.
Yeah, sometimes it's not always on the quarterback. One thing watching Jarrett Garantano this year, I love how calm he is. He's willing to stay in the pocket, operate within the pocket, but you also got to know where pressure is going to come from and when you can take those hits off yourself by just simply sliding protection.
Straight ahead run for Tim Jordan. And with the 2nd surge, he gets the 1st down. 2nd possession for Tennessee. They were granted great field position after the interception by Shy Tuttle.
Tennessee takes some wide receivers out, adds a few tight ends. They're going a big set here. Looks they're going to try to run the football.
Tennessee will use a timeout. Jeremy Pruitt had to run up to make the call. Not happy with the communication process, it seems. 6:02 to go in the first quarter. Tennessee threatening.
Welcome back to the Willie B. And if you're watching this game on the sofa, I know what you want. You want some cold cuts. 6 blockers in, 6 Alabama defensive linemen ready to blitz. Protection's been an issue. They slide the protection to the left. The back should be on the Mike linebacker. The left guard should slide to his left and take the outside blitzer. You see the miscommunication between the right guard and the running back, taking the wrong linebacker that was blitzing. That miscommunication, guys, when you have an offensive line that's struggling, cannot happen. 6-on-6 has to be picked up, at least a hat on a hat. Save your quarterback from taking those hits, fellas.
Amen.
Here at Willie B, Carlin Filsamy is in a running back, converted DB, and he gets his first touch. And Carlin Filsamy takes it inside the 10. They have him back in as the 4th-string running back because they moved Jeremy Banks from running back to linebacker. And so the shuffling goes on for head coach Jeremy Pruitt.
Like the idea of a jet sweep when you're struggling up front with your offensive lineman. You got a new guy in there. You're not as physical as you want to be. Stretching the defense laterally can really take away from some of that penetration against a good defensive front.
2nd and 1. Marquez Callaway, receiver, top of the formation. Whoa, great movement up front and penetration, and it turns into no gain. Bryson Allen Williams again came cutting through, and we've got a flag down. South Carolina has been a little anxious. This might be their 2nd offsides.
Offside. Defense, number 5. 5-yard penalty. Results in a first down.
It's the 2nd time they've gotten an advantage by coming early. That time, Keir Thomas.
And you just can't do that. You got to watch the ball, especially you're lined up in the A gap between the center and the guard. That ball is right in front of you. You should be the first one to move right as you see that center start to snap.
Fresh set of downs for Tennessee. Ty Chandler has a touchdown pass, a touchdown reception in 3 straight games. He's back in at running back. Play action to him. End zone, tight end, touchdown Tennessee. Eli Wolf.
Absolutely love the play call there. You bring your tight end from one side of the formation to the other. Hard play action. Great job there by Garantano lowering his pad level. TJ Brunson, the other linebackers, can't see the football, take a step up. And the tight end is wide open.
Brent Samaglia on for the point after. Joe Doyle is his holder. And in a series over the last 6 years, which has been decided by less than a touchdown, another close one early as Tennessee gets the early advantage. Garantano's 7th touchdown pass of the season.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by Holiday Inn Express. Be the readiest. And in part by the official drink of Fansville, Dr. Pepper. Available at Dollar General.
There's something special about night games no matter where you are in the SEC. And here in South Carolina, they do it special. Cocky with the dramatic appearance. Jarrett Garantano hooks up with Eli Wolf. It's the first career touchdown for Eli Wolf. Deebo Samuel will take this one out from 3 yards deep. Again, he's got a seam. And Samuel trucks all the way out towards the 30. Let's take another look at the touchdown pass from Garantano off play action.
Well, first thing I love here is they're going to release tight end Eli Wolf through the B gap. Now, Jarrett Garantano's job is to get TJ Brunson to bite up. And look at the shoulder level. See how Garantano lowers his shoulder level? Brunson loses sight of the ball, steps up, and that's the only thing he needed to complete that pass. That's a great play design and a great execution by Jarrett Garantano on the fake.
And T.J. Brunson is an emotional player. He's almost an anxious player. So seems like the fake worked even better on him. He's
Absolutely.
so willing to make a play.
Down at the goal line, that's your money right there is play fakes. Everyone's thinking run. You do that, all you need is a short little window, small window to reach that ball into your tight end.
Rico Dowdle goes straight ahead for 6. Dowdle did not get the start tonight. Tyson Williams did. First time Dowdle hasn't started this season. And here he is with his second touch. And a burst of energy up the middle.
Interesting what we're seeing here out of South Carolina. When you flip on film, you see a lot of 5 wide, you see a lot of 4 wide. They like to push the tempo, spread guys out, lean on the quick passing game. You haven't seen a ton of that.
Yeah.
More tight end in the game. And I think that's because, like I said earlier, they're trying to establish the run. This passing game is at its best when the running game is there to balance it out.
Brian McClendon is a first-year OC. He told us yesterday that since Jake is at his best when the offense is balanced, maybe more run checks early instead of RPOs. And there's another run and another first down as Dowdle has 3 straight carries. That one goes for 21, his best so far.
Like I mentioned, we don't see a ton of 12 personnel. You got 2 tight ends over here, and they're going to run Dowdle in that direction. Great down block to open up that hole. This is a different South Carolina offense than I've seen the past few weeks on film.
12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, those late night school sessions are paying off. Dennis Daly, the South Carolina left tackle, is still down on the ground being tended to by the athletic training staff. Senior from right here in Columbia, who tonight made his 15th consecutive start. There's not a whole lot of depth for either offensive line. 3:18 to go in the first quarter. Back in a moment. So Dennis Daly helped off the field here for South Carolina, the senior from the upstate. Here's what went wrong.
You can see Daly working on Kyle Phillips there, a double team with Markway. And Pollard blocks his guy down as he's supposed to, but this is the dangers of playing O-line. You're going to get rolled up at some point. Let's hope it's a little more of a scare than it is an injury.
So Malik Young enters at left tackle, senior from Pelzer, South Carolina. Deebo Samuel bouncing off guys just right at the marker. Cole, what can we expect from Malik Young?
A pretty nice luxury, Tom, to have a guy that has started at left tackle for your football team to be able to fill in and reserve. He's a guy that has quick feet, pretty good hands, not the best body balance. One of the reasons that he probably is not a regular member of this lineup, but he's done some things over the last few years that I've seen that have been pretty impressive. Really nice for Will Muschamp's group to be able to throw him in after an injury.
Then again, I didn't have great body balance after dinner last night either, so I understand.
That wasn't an athleticism problem.
Well, that was a me problem. 2 tight ends in the game again. Pollard and Markway on the right side. Bentley pulls it back and went to a slide right at the line of scrimmage, picked up a yard.
It's that same play I broke down earlier in the game. They will look to throw off that. Bentley doesn't want to be a runner. He's going to run it if the defense gives him the look on the read option, but he would prefer to flip that out to his slot receiver if possible.
Thule had the tip that led to a pick. 2nd down 9. Here's Dowdle. Great patience, and he breaks it to the outside. Rico Dowdle inside the 10. Finally cut down and looked like he was down, but it was recovered by South Carolina anyway, and they ruled he was down out at the 6-yard line. 24-yard run for Rico Dowdle.
A really good job by that left side. Malik Young in there at left tackle for his second play, opening up a hole. Good job by Pollard coming around and pulling as well from the tight end position.
Here's Deebo, and he ran into a wall. able to pick up a yard on first down, and Deebo Samuel's still on the ground.
He got stuck.
Nigel Warrior was waiting for him on the cutback.
Nigel Warrior's a hitter now. He will come up and play at the second level. The stats don't jump out at you. You'd love a little more production if you're Tennessee from him this year, but those are the type of hits and physicality he's capable of. You see him on the left side of your screen there. It's a great job of playing contain, fighting through he ducked under the block there. Dowdle was supposed to pick him up on a lead block here. Bends, ducks under, and makes the tackle. That's a heck of a ball play right there.
It's hard to overstate the importance of Deebo Samuel to the South Carolina offense and their special teams. Maybe just got the wind knocked out, helped to his feet.
That's what it looked like. Catch a helmet in that sternum or that gut. Doesn't feel good, but with how crucial he is to this offense, we saw him take a direct snap. He'll move all around from slot to boundary receiver. They'll work him in the field. He's an integral part of this offense, and they'll need him.
Ninth play of the drive coming up. 7 of the previous 8 have been runs, and that last one, while technically a pass, certainly looked like a run by design. Straight ahead, Dowdle. And he is stopped at the 2. That's going to set up 3rd and goal. DeAndre Johnson made his first career start for Alabama. The Alabama game came in for the tackle for Tennessee.
Tell you what, Tennessee's got to figure out a way to counteract the 2 tight ends that South Carolina has in the game. They don't have an answer for it. I haven't seen South Carolina run the football this effectively, especially early in a game all season. Tennessee's got to figure out where to put that extra linebacker as these tight ends flip sides.
Markway and Pollard go left now. Bentley wants to throw. Lob, end zone into double coverage, and it's knocked away. Coverage by Balin Buchanan and Bryce Thompson. And Brian Edwards thought that there was some contact coming his way.
Yeah, this is the right read, but this ball has got to be thrown a little earlier. Face guarding there. You're allowed to do it as long as you're not making contact, but either way, Bentley's got to get rid of that ball on a lower trajectory. Tried to throw a jump ball, and I understand that to your 6'3" receiver Brian Edwards, but that ball comes out lower and quicker. You get it there before the defense.
I think Edwards may have a case for the missed flag. Parker White on for a 19-yard attempt. He's perfect inside 30 this season, and he stays that way. So South Carolina able to finish off an 11-play, 68-yard drive. Saturday, 10 Eastern, 9 Central, the SEC Nation traveling pregame show with Laura, Marcus, Paul, Tim, and Lauren will be in Lexington. Number 7, Georgia. Number 12, Kentucky. To decide the SEC East. They'll break down everything from the gridiron to the grill for Week 10 of the college football season. SEC Nation presented by Flying Pilot J right here on the SEC Network. Also streaming live on the ESPN app. After Kentucky turned the ball over midway through the 4th quarter, they had a 3.5% chance to beat Missouri. The Wildcats only had a better than 50% chance on one snap the entire game. That was the untimed down when they scored the game-winning touchdown. And how about the play call going away from Benny Snell?
Unbelievable play call, because it was a short time ago. There was a 3rd and 2. And Eddie Gran went away from Benny Snell. I figured late in that game you would ride your horse, but what confidence in Terry Wilson, a guy that has not played well, played his best football against Missouri, to put the ball in his hands with one play to win it on a short throw to your tight end, C.J. Conrad. Good teams find ways to win.
Georgia knocked off Florida 36-17. Florida got in its own way a lot tonight. Here's Ty Chandler. And Chandler makes it all the way out to the 29-yard line. So to come down to this, Georgia and Kentucky in a 2-horse race now in the East. Winner that game next week would win the division. Kentucky could win that game and afford a loss next time out because they would have the tiebreaker advantage over Georgia. So it comes down to that. Kentucky has never made it to Atlanta to play for an SEC championship. They've never won the East. They haven't won the SEC outright since 1950. That was the only time they did it. Tennessee gives it to Tim Jordan, sophomore out of Florida. He picks up 7.
Just 3 points for Kentucky late into that game. So they got a lot to still be desired on the offensive side. But when you can play defense like they can, always give yourself a chance.
This series has been a thriller. And you wonder if we're in for another late game that will be decided in the 4th. 1 quarter into it. Tennessee in the play action has the lead at 7-3 Volunteers. End zone, tight end, touchdown Tennessee, Eli Wolf. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. The Eli Wolf score his first career touchdown. Remains our only touchdown of the night as we start the 2nd quarter. Tom Hart, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik. Great night for football here in the Mid-State. Carlin Filsamy gets the carry, and he gets wrapped up and dropped by Kingsley Enagbare. Over the last 6 years, this one has been a touchdown game. The average margin of victory, 3.3 points. South Carolina's won each of the last 2, but Tennessee had a chance to win it on its final play. And the Volunteers now left with a 3rd and 6. First taste of this rivalry for Jeremy Pruitt, first-year head coach for Tennessee. And Will Muschamp as a head coach between Florida and South Carolina has never lost to the Vols. Garantano, complete to Callaway, but short. T.J. Brunson with the stop.
Well, I like the play call there, but Brunson's not going to get fooled twice in this game. Great job staying in his zone coverage and making a tackle right before the line.
Doesn't look pretty at the outset, but it'll work out pretty well for Tennessee. That was a 48-yard punt. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. Cole's down on the sideline. We like to keep him, away, safe
away from
distance.
us.
Yeah, so he can do his job down there. This is a game where a lot of the fans who are so passionate about their programs have been focusing on the quarterbacks because nobody's perfect. Let's face it, and they've both been up and down over the season.
Yeah, and one thing I'm interested to see, we've seen South Carolina's strategy. They're going to run the football early. Jarrett Garantano, the best thing this offense for Tennessee has done all year is push the ball downfield. I mean, their playmakers on the outside, Juwan Jennings, Marquez Callaway, have been fantastic. Garantano's accuracy downfield has been much improved. Haven't seen that element yet, but I bet this next drive, it'll come out.
See if they start opening it up. Tyson Williams gets wrestled to the ground after a gain of 2. Another stop for Darren Kirkland. You study the stats on this one if that's what you want to do at this point of the season, and they really don't tell the story for either team. There have been ups and downs. Tennessee 2 games ago, a huge win on the road against a ranked Auburn team, then blown out as everybody has been against Alabama. And South Carolina's been a game short this year. Remember, they didn't play their Marshall game. So there's 6 games, 5 of them have been in conference. Physical plays, Williams gets spun around. And one of the things Will Muschamp was talking about is whether it comes to playing freshmen or developing young players or trying something new, it's really hard to do that when you're in a conference battle every week. You lose what you might think of in the NFL as an exhibition game.
Yeah, 5 straight conference games. You don't have much time to go good on good during the week in practice. You're trying to get guys healthy.
3rd and 2. Tennessee using another timeout.
Timeout.
Communication issues again. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. South Carolina's gone heavy run thus far tonight. They've been about 50-50 over the course of the season. But they've leaned on the ground game here early. And let's see what their decision is on 3rd and 2. Bentley gets spread out wide. It's Deebo Samuel in the Wildcat. And he got cut down but was able to stretch for the first down. Todd Kelly Jr. is getting the start at safety tonight for Tennessee. Sean Schamberger had been there the last couple of games. And Jeremy Pruitt, he's just simply at wit's end when it comes to players not executing or not caring. He said, I got a lot of guys pulling the rope in the same direction. If you don't want to be out there, I will replace you.
Yeah, one of the reasons we're seeing Todd Kelly is he makes another good play on this drive, as well as you're going to see Jeremy Banks, a former running back that's going to be playing linebacker. At this point for Tennessee, it's less about knowing where to line up or knowing exactly what your execution is and more about the mentality that you play with out there. They're trying to step up, raise the level, the tone, the physicality of this entire defense, and they're going to put guys in there that'll do that.
There's Jeremy Banks. He'd been a running back over the first course of this season. Didn't have a carry over the last 2 games. And he's got 3 practices on the defensive side.
I was going to say, I can tell you what else he didn't have, a neck roll before today. He's like, linebacker, give me one of those things that helps back there.
Yep. Looks cool. Rico Dowdle with the carry. Alexis Johnson with the tackle.
You said it, Tom, though. 3 practices at linebacker. His first play, Jeremy Pruitt said he came right in, blew up a power play, flipped the running back. Everybody kind of opened their eyes and go, whoa. Hey, he didn't even do it right, but he made a play. Let's get this guy in there.
Well, and he also noticed, Pruitt did, that after the teammates saw how hard Banks was playing and that he was making plays, that some of those other inside linebackers started to pick up their game too. There's no motivator like playing time. 3rd down 4, blitz coming. Bentley pulls it back and he gets swallowed up. Kyle Phillips and Alexis Johnson Jr. with a loss of 9.
Yeah, and this play is really made by Darrell Taylor. He's going to start on the end line of scrimmage, but his job is the running back. He's thinking rush, running back releases, he goes with him. That's exactly where Jake Bentley wanted to go with the ball.
Bentley takes the sack. It's a 10th sack allowed by South Carolina this season. Marquez Callaway back to return for Tennessee. Joseph Charlton out of AC Flora right here in Columbia, punted away. Tennessee came hard after it. They put him on the turf. Here comes a flag. It was 4th and 12. Callaway sheds 1, stiffs another, and he's finally forced out of bounds and lost his helmet in the process. 55-yard punt. A long 7 on the return. And we'll see how severe the penalty is on the kicker. James Carter is our referee. You could see the Tennessee teammates react after Alontae Taylor made contact with Joseph Charlton.
It's the thing with those Australian punters. They take 1 or 2 extra steps than your traditional. You got to slow down quicker than you think.
Running into the kicker. Receiving team. That penalty is declined. Ball be placed at the dead ball spot. First down.
And Marquez Callaway on that return not only got hogtied at the beginning, but he took a hard hit at the end too, and he's spending some time with the athletic training staff. We're in a break. After that flag goes against Tennessee, it's 7-3 Volunteers 5 minutes into the second quarter.
SEC Saturday Night is presented by Holiday Inn Express. Be the readiest.
We need more dogs. Too many cats. We need more dogs. Same state it works.
I thought you were a cat guy.
No, but Jacqueline Jameson, who, by the way, enjoyed her birthday last week. She's in the booth with us. She's a big cat, so a shout out to Bentley back home in Southern California. Jared Garantano is the quarterback for Tennessee. After the Vols decline that punting penalty. Here's Ty Chandler. Let's get you back to the studio. Here's Dari. All right, Dari, thanks. Back in your home state. Meanwhile, in the SEC, huge win for Georgia in Jacksonville. They knocked off Florida. Kentucky scored with zeros on the clock to beat Missouri. And Vandy won on the road. The Doors put 45 on the board in Fayetteville today. 2nd and 6. Garantano had everybody covered and flicked it out to avoid the sack to Chandler. And that saved him some yardage. Aaron Sterling was chasing down Garantano and had him in his grasp.
That's the evolution when I watch film of, I said it earlier, the calmness that Garantano has been operating within the pocket. It'll get you in danger sometimes because you hold on to it a little too long. That ball should have come out earlier to Juwan Jennings on the sideline. Had a guy open, but good job of getting rid of it and splitting the difference for a 3rd down.
3rd down, 5. Issues for Tennessee, including Juwan Jennings trying to get the call.
Ball start. Offense. 57. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Nathan Niehaus, a right guard move. 3rd consecutive start tonight for Niehaus. So that makes it 3rd and 10. Garantano looked at Chandler, decided to take it himself. And Jared Garantano goes airborne for the 1st down. Bryson Allen Williams and TJ Brunson flip him. It's a gain of 11. He could have just flipped it out to Chandler.
Yeah, he could have. I don't love the play call there. They go all verticals. 4 receivers all on verticals. Nothing there against drop 8 coverage for South Carolina. But the one thing that does do for you, it creates some running lanes for your quarterback. Love that he looked towards his check down, but had the confidence in himself against deep zone coverage to take off and run.
That looked like former South Carolina quarterback Savell Newton on that scramble. Here's Chandler. Ducks to the outside and back in. And Chandler was on the defender at the marker, picked up another 1.5 yards. It's a gain of 12. He rolled right over the top of Bryson Allen Williams.
One thing we're seeing a little bit more of tonight, guys, are runs off the right side of that Tennessee offensive line. Obviously, Trey Smith not in the game on the left side. Coming into this game, they had 68 runs off the left side of the offensive line to 49 runs to the right side of the offensive line. So maybe no Trey Smith impacting the direction of the Tennessee run game tonight.
Blood clots were discovered in his lungs in the spring. They reoccurred this past week. He is out indefinitely. Tim Jordan at tailback. They fake the toss to him. A bullet from Garantano sails. Trying to find Josh Palmer.
That's a ball right there Garantano has got to complete. Rolling to the right as a quarterback. If you let your momentum take yourself or your body to the sideline, that ball is going to drift with you. You missed wide on the run, especially to the right. Right-handed quarterback's ball tails away from you. You got to get your momentum going downhill to throw that ball accurately.
Here's the toss. And Tim Jordan picks up 7. By the way, they're at the half in Starkville. Texas A&M trailed early, and the Aggies now lead Mississippi State 10-7. The Aggies are a team that could go on a run to close the season.
Absolutely. They got the talent with Jimbo Fisher instituting a new offense, new defense under Elko. you're only going to get better as the season goes on and as you get more comfortable within the system. They're a dangerous team, but Mississippi State's got a really good defense too, so that's not a walk in the park.
3rd down 3, Ty Chandler at tailback. Garantano will go under center this time. It's Jennings in motion. Another roll. Garantano lobs it on a throwback. It is caught by Chandler, and he takes it out of bounds for a 1st down. How about that play design?
That was, what's the word, creative?
Yeah.
You get flow going to one side of the field, the jet sweep from the sole receiver, or one of the receivers, widest receiver on the left side, gets all eyes going that way. That's not an easy throw there. South Carolina was recovering. They sniffed it out a little late, but all you needed was a few. And a big hit by DJ Wonnum there.
DJ Wonnum just back, coming down from injury. He had a big game against Tennessee last year. Play action, Garantano, max protection, out route, too strong. 2nd time he sailed it in the direction of Josh Palmer.
Little hesitation there on any outbreaking routes, timing routes as a quarterback. If you don't let that ball go, when your back foot hits the ground, your stride may get too long. You may, as you saw there with Garantano, he kind of double pumped his left foot into the stride there, and ball comes out inaccurately.
9th play of the drive. Carolina shows corner blitz. Garantano, and this one whistled dead.
False start. Offense. Left guard. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Jerome Carvin, who had been starting at center. This is a young Tennessee offensive line. Jeremy Pruitt said, you know, I thought if we were going to surprise people this year, it was going to be because our O-line could stay healthy, and I thought they could surprise some folks. That hadn't been the case. Brandon Kennedy was lost to a torn ACL. They got Trey Smith out with blood clots. And
at 70, Ryan Johnson, the center there, has got to get their silent cadence timed up. A lot of times you'll see a head fake or an indicator to let those guards know when you're about to snap it.
they flip it to Jordan this time out of the backfield. And that's going to leave 3rd and about 11. Tennessee 2 of 2 on 3rd down on this drive.
Watch the pressure package here from South Carolina, guys. They like to bring the 5th man towards the running back if they're going to decide to dial up a little bit of extra pressure, see where Tennessee decides to line up their back offensively.
And the reason they do that, Tennessee does so much slide protection. That means the offensive linemen are going away from the back, so you try to overload the back and get pressure on the quarterback.
Here comes that pressure. It's complete to Callaway. Breaks free. Marquez Callaway has a Tennessee 1st down. It goes for 15. Jamias Williams finally brought him down.
Boy, we saw it on the big 3rd down conversion just a few plays ago. Jarrett Garantano, under duress, is doing a great job of getting rid of the ball. That is not easy to do when you have a defender breathing down your neck. So flip the ball out there accurately, hit him right in the belly button there, give the receiver an easy catch and allow him to get upfield and get you yards.
Longest play of the night for Tennessee. Again, the toss. And Jordan tiptoes his way through the line before TJ Brunson body slams him. Here's a look at the pass chart for Jarrett Garantano, who is 10 of 13 tonight.
Well, it's one thing Tyson Helton said, the offensive coordinator for Tennessee, got to get the ball in the perimeter. We have question marks at the offensive line. We haven't been physical enough to just run the football between the tackles. So what do? Well, you use the pass game as an extension of the run, easy layup throws, get it to your playmakers on the perimeter, and that's really your run game.
This will be the 12th play of the drive. Empty backfield for Garantano. Pressure coming. Pulls it back, lets it go incomplete. TJ Brunson got in the face of Jarrett Garantano that time. Back of that jersey was dirtied up on the first series, and they haven't let up, bringing pressure on the Tennessee QB.
And Tom, you just wonder how many of those hits he can take. He took so many hits against Alabama, including the one that got him out of the game. And that's right where he got hit versus Alabama in the sternum. Those will start to wear on you as a quarterback, not just physically, but mentally. You start to be a little skittish back there.
Tennessee's been great on third down here late. Third down 5. Over the middle, complete. Callaway breaks free at the 10. He's inside the 5, and another Tennessee conversion. Stephen Montag finally brought him down. 12 yards on that gain.
And some confusion on the South Carolina side. Look at all the defenders over here with just one eligible receiver, and you'll see these linebackers. They get 3-4 guys going to the left side and a drag going the opposite direction. Play side linebacker should not have been on the back. He gets out of position, and that's why that under route by Marquez Callaway has an opening.
So this march continues for Tennessee. 14th play of the drive. Running towards the tight end side, and Ty Chandler has nowhere to go. Javon Kinlaw, junior from down at Charleston, came in for the stop. It's a loss of 2.
This is where the lack of physicality up front for Tennessee really hurts them. You get in the red zone. You want to impose your will on a defense, but you got some new faces. You got some smaller bodies than you used to. Your best player, period, Trey Smith, is not out there anymore. You find creative ways to move the ball in the low red zone, not just between the tackles.
Good size for Tennessee on the edge. Garantano looking end zone. And that is Jauan Jennings, and he's in for a Tennessee touchdown on a 6-yard crossing route. We've got a flag down on the far side of the end zone.
Touchdown is good. After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 15 of the offense. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
A methodical 15-play, 71-yard drive. And Jauan Jennings decided to share the football. That's not nice.
It almost looked like an accident. It looked like he was trying to get up. And no, am I giving him too much credit?
Yeah, you're giving a little too much.
It looked like he slipped getting up and just kind of.
Yeah, but you don't leave the football on the chest of the guy you just scored on. Yeah, you're very nice to see it through that lens.
I was trying, you know. Great play call there. They got man coverage. Crossing routes are always great against man coverage. Tennessee, 14-3, rolling on offense.
Gamecocks have been very patient offensively with the ground game. They might have to open things up now that they've fallen behind by 2 scores. After the penalty, the kickoff from the 20. South Carolina have great field position. From the 19, it's A.J. Turner. And Turner out to the 40. Vols lead the Gamecocks 14-3. South Carolina on offense right after this. All right, Dari, thanks. Jake Bentley's only put it in the air 7 times this far tonight. 4 of 7 for 27 yards. Kind of like a heavyweight title fight. Got the feeling they wanted to field Tennessee out and lean on the ground game early. And now Bentley going to the air. Got a 3-man route, and it is incomplete. Brian Edwards, the intended receiver.
Fellas, I talked to Brian McClendon, the South Carolina offensive coordinator, before the game. Asked him, would he commit to the run game for 4 quarters? And he said, that is absolutely our plan. So I'm not surprised they hadn't gotten away from it.
Yeah, you love the plan, but when you have 27 passing yards and you're down 2 scores right before half, like they're doing right now, time for some 5 wide.
Bentley lets it go. That's complete for a first down. You've watched a lot of tape on Jake Bentley. You've mentioned that he seems more comfortable when he has to get rid of it quickly.
Yeah, I think so. He's one of those guys that you saw the inaccuracy there on the last throw, or 2 throws ago where he missed high. When he's got time to think about it, he overstrides a little bit, gets his body too much into it. That ball will fly all over the place at times. He's got to make a quick decision. His entire process, his entire mechanics shorten up, and he's a lot more accurate.
2-minute drill here for South Carolina. 2nd down of 5 after consecutive completions. 4-man rush. Bentley hit as he throws, and that one sails high and wide. Almost exactly what you were talking about. He got planted, but no flag.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You love that he works all the way to what was really his 5th option on that play. Started to the left, comes all the way back. This is one of those throws. You see how wide his feet were there. He's got no power, no torque in his lower body, so you try to overcompensate with your chest, get your body into the throw, your arm, legs behind, and you airmail it.
South Carolina just 1 of 4 on 3rd down conversions. Once again, Tennessee drops 7. Bentley on the run, complete for a first down. Brian Edwards. It's a pickup of 16.
And see, this is where Jake's at his best. The pocket's breaking down. He's stepping up. He's using his eyes. He's flipping the ball, kind of half on the run. He's a gamer, man. He'll make some throws like that under duress, and then he'll make a few that'll make you scratch your head.
And Bentley is furious that Kyle Phillips just went down just as South Carolina started to go tempo. Bentley was starting to feel it and feel like South Carolina was in a rhythm. Phillips at Hillsborough High School in Nashville had a pick 6 against Bama, 9 tackles, a forced fumble against Auburn. He's been the face of this defense. They will help Phillips off the field. Home crowd seems to believe that was merely a stalling tactic.
This thing with this new look, first year under Brian McClendon, this new look South Carolina offense, they love tempo. And anytime tempo is at the core of your offense philosophy, you do much better when the momentum's on your side, when things start to click, few completions in a row, everybody starts to raise their awareness, focus, and you seem to play at a higher level.
Bentley hands it off to Rico Dowdle. 5 yards that time for Dowdle. South Carolina has 3 timeouts remaining. Approach the 1-minute mark.
You got an eternity right now. I mean, everything's open in the play, but you can run the football, but keep taking some shots.
Dowdle tries to bounce, gets past a couple of guys, and he lowers his shoulder to get inside the 5. 21-yard run.
Or keep running it.
Yeah, just like we said.
Yeah. And you can see South Carolina here getting to the line of scrimmage quick, and Tennessee subbing.
Now 1st and goal, Bentley gets pressured, and all alone, Debo got it! Touchdown, South Carolina! A one-hand snag by Debo. That's my bike, punk!
Unbelievable. On one hand, we're breaking down throws that we think Bentley should be completing, and I said on the other hand, he will make some unbelievable plays. But how about the catch by Debo? That would have been good in the NFL. He got 2 in. 1 hand, 2 feet.
Oh, with the cone.
Rub it in, too, by just holding it with the 1. Unbelievable. Look how Bentley gets this throw off. He's got no feet on the ground. Short arms it. That's 2 playmakers right there that know each other well.
Parker White with the point after. It's blocked. Tennessee got penetration and they blocked the point after. Shy Tuttle may have gotten his hands on it. Remember, he already has a pick tonight.
See penetration come through the right A gap. It's really the B gap there between the guard and tackle. You got to step down and squeeze. And on field goal team, you really just want to try to get run over slowly. Just get a body in the way if possible. Great job shooting the gap there by Tuttle.
We'll see if that comes back to bite South Carolina late in this one. That was an 8-play, 60-yard drive in just a minute 22. And Deebo Samuel with his 5th receiving touchdown of the season. Coming up at the half, you can watch a live performance of the mighty sound of the Southeast on SEC Network Plus. Starts streaming now on the ESPN app. Short kick, fair catch asked for, and that'll bring it out to the 25-yard line. 49 seconds left, Tennessee only 1 timeout.
You see Deebo right here is going to try to work towards the flat. Original timing is to get this throw out quickly. Bentley's not able to do that, and that's where the playmaker, the gamer, the moxie, whatever you want to call it, that's where this takes over. And you see him tuck the ball and then somehow get it off under pressure to Deebo, and this is just a beautiful thing here, the catch.
And Alontae Taylor had him, but then came up to support the run.
Yeah, great job by Deebo there, getting eyes on the quarterback so you can kind of read where he wants to go or when he wants to throw it.
Ty Chandler rips off 5 on first down.
South Carolina's got all their timeouts.
First charge timeout of the half, South Carolina. This will be a 30-second timeout.
And so the Gamecocks will stop the clock with 42 seconds left in the half.
Yeah, why not try to get it back? You got Jake Bentley. From a cerebral standpoint, is as good as there is at running the 2 minutes, so you can get a chance to get the ball back. You're going to try it.
This season, for every field goal and extra point made by participating universities, All-State will make a contribution to the university's General Scholarship Fund. Thank you, All-State. Williams-Brice Stadium, University of South Carolina. Gamecocks have won the last 2 in this series. Garantano under center. And that'll pick up a first down for Tennessee.
That will probably mean we're going to go to half.
Yeah.
Tennessee's not going to fold over here. They might hand the ball off again, see if something spits, but you're Jeremy Pruitt, you're pretty happy to take this lead to the locker room, playing well on really both sides of the football right now.
Jeremy Pruitt's team had struggled in the first quarter all season, but they took an early lead on South Carolina with Garantano's touchdown pass to Eli Wolf. And the Volunteers will hit the locker room with a 14-9 edge. It was an edgy Jeremy Pruitt last week at halftime at Alabama. He challenged the rest of his roster to step up to see who wanted to play, saying, I need 25 more guys to give us the kind of effort we need to be a championship football team. Different feeling as he heads to the locker room tonight on the road at South Carolina, and his team in prime position. The Vols will receive the second half kickoff. Cole Kublik's down on the field. He's with Coach Pruitt.
Coach Pruitt, how did that final South Carolina drive change the message to your team at halftime?
Well, we can't get out of the way of ourselves. We put a good drive together, score, and we get a 15-yard penalty, which is undisciplined. And then we just turn a guy loose when we're playing man-to-man. So we got to be able to execute and do the little things.
Your quarterback, Jarrett Garantano, showed a lot of guts in the first half. How do you protect him yet still allow him to be a playmaker for your offense?
Well, you know, it's one thing when they scheme us up. It's another thing when we got guys to slide and pick them up. We don't have to block better.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah.
Tennessee will try to protect Jarrett Cano and protect the lead. Garantano's thrown a pair of touchdown passes. Tennessee up 14-9 here at the break. Let's take you back to the studio. Doring, and Chiz. zone. Tight end. Touchdown, Tennessee. Eli Wolf. Great patience, and he breaks it to the outside. Garantano looking end zone. Juwan Jennings, and he's in for a Tennessee touchdown. And all alone, Devo. Got it! Touchdown, South Carolina. Welcome back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. Jake Bentley was great on the last drive for Carolina. 4 of 6 through the air. Will Muschamp's team trying to solve Tennessee, though. On the other side for Volunteers, Jarrett Garantano has thrown 2 touchdown passes as Tennessee under Jeremy Pruitt looks for its second consecutive SEC road win. With that, we welcome you back. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. South Carolina's run 32 plays, only 13 passes, and most of those coming on the last drive. Do they open it up, or is this who they want to be?
No, I think they have to. I mean, credit to Brian McClendon, the offensive coordinator, for doing something different, bringing 2 tight ends in the game. We saw that effective in the run game for South Carolina early, but they couldn't get anything going. And this team is built to throw the football. They came out right before half in 4 wide receivers. I expect to see more of a balance between the 2 tight end and spreading it out.
Half of Jake Bentley's 8 completions came on the final drive. Garantano, 12 of 16, and an efficient start for him. We thought we'd see both backups tonight at some point, but no sniff of either Keller Chris for Tennessee or Michael Scarnecchia for South Carolina. Fair catch asked for and taken in the end zone by Tennessee. Let's go down to the field. Cole, what do you got?
Talked to South Carolina head football coach Will Muschamp coming out. He said he's happy with the offense. Run game looks good. Now have to build around that to find some success down the field. And he said defensively we've been caught off screens and been caught off guard and out of position a little bit. Have to clean that up in the second half.
And we expected that from Tennessee, the screen game that they use to try to counter the lack of size and depth up front.
Yeah, and sometimes when a team is successful at the screen game, those linebackers start getting their eyes to the outside, and that's when those drag routes, those under routes by the Tennessee receivers have really hit big.
Garantano takes it outside once again. This is Ty Chandler. And Chandler has a gain of 6 before Jamias Williams brings him down.
The more I see these short throws, the more the quarterback in me goes, man, they're just baiting this defense to take a shot at some point. And we've seen Garantano, especially against Auburn, how effective he's been throwing the football downfield, completing half of his passes 30-plus yards downfield. That's really good. At some point, they're going to take a shot.
Palmer's a deep threat, so is Callaway. Could put Juwan Jennings in the mix, too. Trips to the left, they go back to a screen that side. It's Ty Chandler again. Good blocking on the edge coming from Eli Wolf. Gain of 12.
It's an interesting thought, Jordan, because I spoke to Travaris Robinson, the South Carolina defensive coordinator, before the game, and I said, Tennessee known for taking those shots. They've had success with them. Do you play back a little bit more, play deeper coverage? He said, we will not give up deep throws. That is their number 1 priority coming into this football game. So will he adjust and maybe walk some of those defensive backs up closer to the line of scrimmage?
And that kind of fits the mantra of a Will Muschamp defense, the bend but don't break.
Absolutely. I mean, they're effective at not giving up the explosive plays. They're actually really, really good at it, giving up the least amount of explosive plays, 30-plus yards in the SEC.
Garantano has patience. A fastball to the outside, and Josh Palmer sideline. What great speed by Palmer. Palmer turns it into a 17-yard catch and run.
I mentioned the deep throws. At some point, they're going to take that shot. Right there, 2 receivers to the top of the screen going deep. You're going to see the motion. You're going to see him trying to hit this thing deep, and it's a great job. Really 3 guys releasing deep downfield of Garantano seeing the coverage, which was there, and just checking the ball down for a big gain.
Wolf in the backfield is the fullback here. And Chandler change direction behind the line and right over the top of the defender. Turns it into an 8-yard gain. R.J. Roderick got playing at that time.
How much do you think Tennessee fans love that play right there? I formation with a tight end, lead off tackle. I mean, shades of Peyton Manning handing the football to Jamal Lewis. Just, I mean, that makes 90s SEC fan, not of Tennessee, cringe to see that type football play. Bit of a throwback there for Jeremy Pruitt.
No one likes it as much as Cole, though.
Yeah, Cole loves it. He's a physical set. Ty Chandler got banged up that time. He leaves the game. Tim Jordan replaces him. Jordan picks up the first down on a gain of 5. Brad Johnson with the tackle for South Carolina. The message sent at both halftime and postgame by Jeremy Pruitt last time out against Alabama was maybe misconceived by some in the public, where he said we need 25 more guys. I talked to him yesterday. He said what we really need is our guys who are working so hard to be better supported by those who aren't. You either get with it or you get out. There's Tim Jordan again. And Jordan across the sideline and then almost got suplex. It's a gain of 6. I think that if you look at Tennessee's effort tonight, you've got to be really pleased with the progress that they've made from that standpoint. Sure, there's been missed assignments. Some we see, some we don't know of. But overall, this is a much better performance than Bama.
Absolutely. I think you see it when that defense gets backed up in the red zone. Those areas of the field you can notice effort, notice physicality most on third down, backed up in the red zone. Done a good job.
Jordan. That's going to set up 3rd and 1. TJ Brunson in on another stop. Tennessee has converted each of its last 4 third downs. This will be the first third down on this drive. Remember, Chandler out after he limped off the field.
At a tight end, but South Carolina doesn't sub, still in nickel. One less linebacker on the field.
An anomaly tonight with South Carolina failing to get Tennessee off the field. Quarterback sneak. Garantano converts. Will Muschamp and Travaris Robinson were both so proud of what South Carolina has done from a defensive standpoint on third down. You saw this stat 4th in the nation in holding opponents to less than 25% coming in, but that's been turned on its head tonight. Robinson on the left. That was Will on the right. Ninth play of the drive. Filsaime takes it inside the 10. Full head of steam, and he's in. 14-yard touchdown run for Carlin Filsaime, who just came back to the offensive side of the ball this week. He was a running back last year, defensive back for most of this season, and bemusement for Carolina fans who see themselves now fall behind 20-9 with the point after forthcoming.
Another great play call. You see all the offensive line movement to the right. You got one puller, and Filsaime coming back from the left, from the right side to the left. Great job out leveraging the contained players for South Carolina. Another creative play down in the red zone on a big play. You saw the one earlier by Garantano on the pot pass, and that one as well.
Zamaglia with the extra point. Carlin Filsaime back on the offensive side of the ball. Looks like he never left. 21-9 Vols. Let's take a look at the road to the championship, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. They're in line for a powerhouse showdown next week. Georgia rolled over Florida 36-17 in Jacksonville. They'll meet up with Kentucky now, and you have to fire up the flux capacitor. Find the last time Kentucky won the SEC. Their only outright title came in 1950. Cats scored with zeros on the clock to knock off Missouri. Georgia and Kentucky tied at 5-1 in the East. The winner of that one next week will win the East. And football's been so big this season for Kentucky, they've hardly noticed that basketball season has started, and they're number 2 in the country. I said hardly. Deebo Samuel brings it out. And through traffic, carries a couple of guys with him out to the 33-yard line. Tennessee's last drive, another score. Jarrett Garantano using the short passing game for big gains.
A brilliant job by Tyson Helton, dialing up a shot play. Garantano checking it down, and the creativity to get the ball on the perimeter, both throwing the football when South Carolina gives you cushion on the outside and the misdirection to get your running backs and playmakers the ball on the perimeter instead of running through the teeth of that defense. I'm impressed with Tyson Helton, offensive coordinator for Tennessee, and the game plan that he's using tonight.
Here's Rico Dowdle as South Carolina sticks with the run. So we asked this question as the half started, and Dowdle slow to get up, and that was before Tennessee's long touchdown drive that took 5 minutes off the clock. South Carolina stick with the run. I mean, Dowdle's got a century mark game going. He's rushed for 109. At what point do you put it in the air? Tyson Williams? No, this is Bentley. And Bentley stays on his feet, and he rumbles all the way to the 30. Nigel Warrior bounced right off the 6'4", 224 Bentley.
I told you, he'll pull that ball. He doesn't want to be a runner, but he is a willing runner. And his dad, the running back coach there, goes, yeah, he can do that too.
That's how we do it. Tyson Williams bounces off Alontae Taylor. A couple of dings in the fender of that Bentley, but still running. We
mentioned it in the open that he's the emotional leader of this team, and sometimes it takes a play like that from the quarterback for everybody to look around and go, wait a minute, I can play a little harder.
Well, now everybody's running over guys. Tennessee lost a helmet. Tyson Williams with the physical run. Nigel Warrior will have to come off for a play. Ground and pound for South Carolina came in 86 in the country, and they've already eclipsed their season average on their first possession of the third quarter. Blitz coming from the edge. Bentley lobs. Here's Williams down at the 1. It'll be first and goal after that 11-yard gain.
Just a free release from the running back out of the backfield. Tyson Williams, the same exact play Tennessee hit Alabama last week on a touchdown for Keller Crisp.
Tempo for South Carolina. Straight ahead. Touchdown. Gamecocks, Tyson Williams. So maybe the change we're seeing from South Carolina is reliance on the run, but keeping that same tempo.
Absolutely. Tempo is the key for this offense. And I mentioned a great rub play. Outside receiver's going to try to pin that outside backer. Free release by the running back. Saw Tennessee run it for a touchdown last week against Alabama. And then Tyson Williams just finishing it out. Tempo, tempo, tempo. This offense is so much better with momentum and speed.
Third rushing touchdown of the season for Tyson Williams. Ron Leatherwood is at the controls of the replay booth. He, along with the folks in Birmingham, want to take an extra look at this one as they review all scoring plays. Was the ball over the plane to the goal line before the knee came down? There's the knee down.
Ooh. That is close.
And remember, it's not just the knee, it's really any part of the leg outside of the foot.
Boy, I don't know. I think it's a little short.
I think it is too. The hard part is, you know, his jersey, his upper body is blocking the goal line.
Right there. Down. I think that's short. If you kind of piece those two angles together, right here, you get the definite knee down, which is right about there in this picture. And boy, I think that is an index card if you're Gene Steratore.
Yeah.
Short of the goal line there.
Fantastic look.
I mean,
of our production staff.
All it's got to do is graze that white paint.
Yeah,
the nose of it's just got to graze the right white paint. It's close.
Ruled a touchdown on the field, by the way. Mississippi State leads Texas A&M by 1. They're in the fourth quarter now, and the Bulldogs threatening to score again. That would be a major upset for the Bulldogs against the Aggies.
After review, runner was short of the goal line. The ball will be placed at the 1.5-foot yard line. It will be second down. The clock will start on my signal.
And so South Carolina will line up and try it again. What do you go to here? They replaced Williams with Dowdle, by the way, at running back.
Well, it depends what Tennessee does up front. If they leave that center uncovered, and I'm Jake Bentley, I might just call my own number here. Dive across the line.
2 tight ends, Crosby and Pollard. 3 of them actually with Jacob August on the left side now.
Head up nose, so I'm handing the ball off here.
On 2nd and goal, up top and in. There's the signal from the line judge. The touchdown belongs to Rico Dowdle.
Let's double check this one too. Doesn't quite get extension of the ball. But there, ooh. I was about to
Game
say
of inches.
that one actually, I'm going to say, just grazed that white paint. I think they're going to keep that one.
Daniel Batuli met him right at the goal line.
Replay guys up there looking at this one going, we just had this.
Keeping him busy. I got it in right there.
Yeah, if you use that pylon in the background as reference, definitely looks like the belly of that ball gets over the line.
Tennessee already blocked 1 extra point tonight. That might loom large for Carolina later. But Parker White bangs that one through. We've got a 5-point game. 8:05 to go in the 3rd quarter in Columbia. (21-16) Tennessee leads South Carolina. We welcome you back to SEC Saturday Night, presented by Holiday Inn Express. This is a key game in deciding the future for both of these teams. And Pilot Flying J on the road for South Carolina. And this is what their remaining road schedule looks like. They go to Oxford. They still have a trip to Gainesville coming up. And, of course, the matchup with a Clemson team that in the shadows of Alabama has quietly been dominating its competition, including Florida State today.
That's not an easy way to end the season, especially for a team that's trying to get bowl eligible.
Ty Chandler and Madre London back to receive. Will Tommy will kick off for South Carolina, the lefty. No return. So the importance of winning this game is immense for both of these teams as they aim for a trip to the postseason. Odds to make a bowl game for Tennessee coming into tonight just 36%. With a win, those odds jump all the way to 71%. For South Carolina, the difference between a loss and a win goes from 17% to 66%.
And I tell you what, Florida looked really good today. I get it. The end score is what it is. The turnovers early killed Florida. That defense at times, especially a 6-play goal line stand, where they are getting better every week. It's going to be a tough one for South Carolina.
Josh Palmer, the intended receiver. Again, Garantano being helped up. Cole, what do you feel like as an offensive lineman when you spend a lot of time helping your quarterback to his feet?
Not good. That's not a good feeling at all. But you want to go back there and take care of your guy. Definitely something that makes you think twice the next time the pass plays called.
Heck of a reminder, huh?
A bit, yeah, just a little.
Quarterback might be like, hey, don't brush the grass off of me, okay? It's your fault I'm back here.
Give him a lookout block at least.
Garantano fires just shy to Palmer again, and that's going to leave 3rd and short.
You know, some of the emphasis I saw from Lance Thompson, the defensive line coach here, coming out of halftime was for this defensive line to get their hands up, take away some of the passing lanes for quick throws of Jarrett Garantano. Obviously here in short yardage, he's been effective with some of those quick throws tonight.
Garantano had a great game on the Plains against Auburn, 21 of 32, a career high 328, and he's been efficient tonight. The Vols have been cruising on 3rd down, now 6 of 8. London, the lead blocker for Tim Jordan. And Jordan in the wild Vol, if you want to call it that, picks up 3. Going to need extra detergent to clean up Jarrett Garantano's jersey after this one.
Yeah, it's really the story of the year. Some of these are on Garantano, some of these on the offensive line. It's been a revolving door, but either way, running the football or standing in the pocket, these hits start to wear on a quarterback. I thought it was interesting asking Muschamp, with no Trey Smith, revolving door for Tennessee on the offensive line. Do you want to pressure them more to try to get after Garantano? He said no.
Play action, Garantano chased from the pocket. Great help block, and Garantano uncorks it deep. It is knocked away at the last second by J.C. Horn. And this is what Will Muschamp and Travaris Robinson have been asking their corners to do a much better job of playing the ball when it comes to 50-50 shots.
And a great job by J.C. Horn, who's probably playing better than anybody in the secondary, of staying in phase. That's a word that Muschamp used when he described defending the deep ball. If you're trailing or behind, you got to play the defender. If you're in phase, meaning you're hip to hip with the receiver, or you're playing a 50-50 ball, you got to find it with your eyes and play the football, not the man. Great job by Horn there.
5 wide, blitz coming. Garantano on the slant, complete to Juwan Jennings. How did Will Muschamp illustrate it? He used Sports Information Director Extraordinaire Steve Fink to stand him up and to be the receiver so Muschamp could guard him during our meeting yesterday.
Right in the middle of the Hey, Fink, get up here. Come on.
It was good.
But it was a great illustration of how he's teaching the cornerback position. And really, South Carolina, they get a lot of calls against them. They're physical on the outside. That's part of their game plan, though. If you're going to be physical, you're going to get some pass interference calls, but you're also going to limit some of the explosive plays like that one we just saw.
One of the most penalized teams on pass interference in the country. Here's Ty Chandler back on the field after he left what looked to be like an ankle injury last time. Tennessee has yet to be called for defensive PI or holding. South Carolina with 10, tied for the most in the conference.
It's like back when the Seattle Seahawks were rolling. Play a lot of man coverage on the outside. They were okay with a few calls for pass interference every game because they knew they were getting called in a few. They're still getting away with a lot as well. The more physical and hands-on you are on the outside, the more those windows close and the tougher it is to complete balls. And South Carolina takes a little bit of that same philosophy. Obviously, you don't want 10, but you're okay with a few every now and then. It means your guys are competing.
Fellas, I thought the coolest part of that was when a player is out of phase, and Will Muschamp talked about the timing that goes with that. So if you're trailing a wide receiver, locate the eyes, locate the hands of the receiver, 1001, and then swipe the arm to try to affect the reception.
Yeah, they go right after the near side elbow. Let's try to keep those hands down. Jordan motion, came back. A little fake to him, and Garantano incomplete. Brandon Johnson was out of bounds. Another look at what J.C. Horn did deep.
Yeah, and this would be in phase. Great job, hip to hip with the defender.
Attacking the near elbow.
Attacking the near elbow. But what you see there is he's playing through the hands. That's another thing you'll hear defensive back coaches say when the ball gets in the range or actually in the hands of the defender, the receiver, play through that, split the hands and break it up.
They turn that into a completion on the far side. It's a gain of 3 and leaves 2nd and 7. Quick hitter to Marquez Callaway. And Callaway taken down at the 15 by Sherrod Green. It's a gain of 15, and Jared Garantano is now 20 of 26. Not quite T. Martin type numbers, but really, really good.
High percentage throws on the outside. Like I mentioned earlier in the drive, as bad as the offensive line has been for Tennessee, South Carolina can't pressure because of all these perimeter screens. You can't, that's what they want you to do. They want you to come after the quarterback so they can spit it outside and create one-on-one matchups. Just got to play patient and got to play sound.
Tim Jordan takes a direct snap, can't gain anything. You're talking about Will Muschamp trying to change things with Trey Smith out, and he said we're going to stick with what we do. He said he tried that as a defensive coordinator at LSU in 2003 against Florida and Chris Leak. Chris Leak knew exactly where to go when the pressure came. He had a great offensive coordinator, quarterback coach in Larry Fedora. He said he tore us apart. He had 2 critical third downs And as a coach, I said, you never forget those, do you? He goes, no, that's how you learn. You learn through failure and learn, not going to do that again. Garantano all day. Now he's pressured and he goes down behind the line. He got tracked down for a loss of 1 by DJ Wonnum. And a flag on the play. Wonnum had a pair of sacks in this game last year.
And actually a pretty good job of protection by the Tennessee offensive line there. That's a coverage sack. Garantano wanted to work his running back to the left side on a wheel route. Wasn't there. Moved on in his progression. The coverage was just too good.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct. Offense, number 1, 15-yard penalty. The down counts. 3rd down.
So
that's number 1's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game.
Both Marquez Callaway and Juwan Jennings have received an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty against him. That is a costly one for Tennessee. It's going to turn that into 3rd and forever. Here's Callaway at the end of the play. And an extra shot on Rashad Fenton, who, by the way, did a great job not retaliating.
And even worse, because now you're right on the border, if not out of field goal range.
This will be the 12th play of the drive, 3rd and 27. And they're going to run it with Chandler. And that was a killer penalty on Marquez Callaway.
Good open field tackle there by R.J. Roderick, the true freshman, playing safety. But you're right, a penalty in the red zone is twice as bad.
So it turns into a 45-yard kick. Cimaglia long is 45. 7 of 9 this season. Takes from a chip shot to a stretch. Plenty of leg, and it's good. So Cimaglia bails out Marquez Callaway, tying his career long with a 45-yarder.
Drilled it.
Everything working perfect for Tennessee on special teams. The lead for the Vols is 8. All right, Jari, thanks. Nick Fitzgerald going back to what works. Get it done on the ground. Deebo Samuel will take a knee. We got a flag late. We got some action, but nobody reached for it. Monday at 7 Eastern, 6 Central, special Halloween edition of Screaming Out Loud with Greg McElroy and Marcus Spears. Don't be spooked, because they'll still talk football. And want your participation via social media throughout the show. It's also available streaming live on the ESPN app. What are you going for? Going as for Halloween?
I was just going to ask you. I have no idea. I'm one of those like last minute try to figure it out. Never turns out well.
I think we should go as the Mario Brothers. Super Mario. You could be.
Am I Luigi?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd be Luigi. You make a good.
I kind of want to be. Well, so Cole would be Bowser.
Yes. Yeah, Cole would make a great Bowser.
Sorry, Cole.
No, it's all good.
Timeout.
Salty.
I figured you knew exactly what you were going to be,
First
Jordan.
charge timeout of the half. South Carolina.
Give us an opportunity to plan our route for picking up the most efficient candies and treats. Jake Bentley wondering, wait, who called the timeout? There seems to be some miscommunication down there. It gives us a chance to pay the bills. The silver lining. I want to clarify, Jake Bentley definitely called the timeout, but he used it when he saw the play clock was down to single digits when they came out. He was wondering why the play clock wasn't set and wondering if it was set properly. So South Carolina has to burn a timeout, their first of the half. 1:47 to go in the quarter. Remember, it's an 8-point deficit for South Carolina because the Gamecocks had a point after blocked on their first touchdown. Debo in motion. Bentley fakes there, looking deeper. And now he lets it go deep down the hashes. It is caught! Bryan Edwards in a foot race. Edwards, stiff arm, down inside the 5. It goes for 73 yards.
Just about to say, they got to get their best receiver involved in this game. Debo's their best player, but Bryan Edwards, just 2 catches prior to that. He's a big play receiver.
And he's being helped off the field. South Carolina trying to go tempo here. They're trying to run the chain up. Tyson Williams in the backfield. Williams to the goal line. And he is stopped just short. For South Carolina, the longest play of the year, and that completion of Bryan Edwards, it covered 73 yards. And what they're trying to solve, which is almost impossible, is solve the drops for these Carolina receivers. They've come from Edwards, they've come from Debo, and they've come on a lot of deep balls that have cost them not only big plays, but momentum.
And 2 big plays against Texas A&M. 1 drop by Debo, 1 drop by Bryan Edwards, both on big, deep balls. You saw the over-the-shoulder catch there. Great throw, great concentration.
All bigs in, and they go to the goal line again. Rico Dowdle. And no play. They did not get the play off.
Prior to the snap, you were notified by replay to review the previous play.
The officials were reviewing and trying to stop the play. South Carolina was trying to keep the tempo going.
I mean, to me, that's one that we got to try to buzz that sooner. I know it's tough, and I know you're trying to make sure you're careful of not just buzzing that reaction, but when you know a team like South Carolina wants to go tempo, hey, you know what? If they get to the line, they snap it, and the booth wasn't quite ready to determine if they're going to review it or not, hey, then that's South Carolina's choice to start going tempo. But
it's a good point, because obviously it would benefit South Carolina
to slow down and wait and maybe take their time, but they want to go tempo, and it's not clearly obvious for the booth to say, hey, we got to see that. And you know what? Let South Carolina run, because they ended up getting a touchdown there. And now you lose the momentum. You take a breath. You allow Tennessee to recover and to scheme what they're going to do now at the 2-yard line.
Let me ask you this. If they count this, or if South Carolina gets in on the next play, if you're South Carolina, do you go for 2? Is it too early to chase them?
Oh, I think you absolutely do.
Tied up to start the 4th quarter?
Yeah. You don't get it. Field goal still wins it for you, so no reason not to go for 2 if South Carolina gets this or has to run another play and is able to get it as well.
They'd be forced to do that after having an extra point blocked in the first half.
It's going to be a tough one. There's a lot of bodies in the way from the angle that we have.
So here's another look. They ruled him down at the 1. Tyson Williams. And he's on a massive body. We just can't see whether or not his knee was down, but the ball absolutely broke the plane. His entire shoulders and above were above the plane.
It's really hard to tell if, I mean, there's some bodies in there. Can't quite tell if he's on top of somebody or the knee sneaks down. Ball definitely crosses the plane. This should be a good shot. Boy, I'm not sure anything there tells you that you can overturn that.
Yeah, must be indisputable.
After review, the ruling on the field stands for the previous play. The ball will be placed at the 1.5-foot yard line. It will be 2nd down. Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 40 seconds.
So
40 seconds on the game clock.
2nd and goal.
Thank you.
And they're short by the length of a football. Jumbo package again, and the footwork got all tangled up. Rico Dowdle is stopped short again, and the ball came loose. Tennessee ran out of there with it. Daniel Batuli has it.
That ball was out.
And Dowdle is still hurt. It was the H-back that tripped right in front of him.
That ball is definitely out.
Keel Pollard was trying to be the lead blocker there. He lost his footing. And then Batuli ripped the ball out.
Yeah, that penetration came from Alexis Johnson, 98, lined up right there between center and right guard, stayed low, got about a yard in the backfield to disrupt that play.
Rico Dowdle is still banged up and has yet to get to his feet, but let's take another look and see if we see the ball come out and win. Yep, loose there and then out. Question is, do we have a clear and immediate recovery? And it's in Batuli's hand, so the assumption, and that is the word, it's an assumption would be that he had it the whole time. Batuli, number 35. Ball out.
Who are they saying had it then?
I guess they're saying Dowdle had it because South Carolina is going to stay on the field.
I guess that ref in there had a better vantage point than us.
3rd and goal. Here's the toss, room on the edge, touchdown South Carolina. Tasson Williams. I gotta be honest, I thought that was Tennessee's football.
I thought so too. Clearly the umpire in the trenches there saw a clear recovery from South Carolina, and Batuli maybe ripped it out after the fact. Sure looked bang bang to me, but great play call there by Brian McClendon. He gets stuffed in between the tackles, flip it on the outside.
So South Carolina will go for 2 here. We've seen already a variety of goal line plays the last 3. Got Deebo Samuel on the near side of the formation. South Carolina 2 for 2 on 2-point conversions.
Deebo right there. Let's see if they send him in motion. They do.
Both conversions have gone to Edwards from Bentley. Looking for Deebo. Nothing there. He's going to scramble. Trying to run it in. He's in! And we've got a tie game on a Jake Bentley conversion. Bentley shaken up. His dad invested in more ways than one.
Well, he was up on his feet there for a second, and then
he wasn't going to get up, Jordan. His teammates went over there and picked him up. He was going to stay down. He took a shot. I don't know if it was when he hit the ground or to the back, but he took a pretty big hit right at the goal line.
Bobby Bentley in the white visor is the running backs coach here at South Carolina.
He's got his dad hat on right now, not his running backs coach hat on. A gutsy play, another gutsy play by Jake Bentley on a run. We saw him lower his shoulder early in the game as he got some open field.
Will Muschamp comes out to check on his quarterback.
That was quick.
Bentley missed the Missouri game with a knee injury. Michael Scarnecchia played well in his stead. Jake was telling us that one of the traditions he had with his dad was pregame haircuts. He said, this year I started to go to a stylist, took that away from my dad, and here's Jake back on his feet and sprinting off to the delight of the crowd.
How about that?
Haircut looks good. What do you get the haircut?
Oh, haircut's great.
9.5?
Yeah, I mean, I know what he's going for.
You're a tough grader when it comes to the quaff.
You know.
He took a shot.
That's Kyle Phillips. 273 pounds of him on a full sprint here. That'll shake you up. And also what you see there, he lands on the ball. So not only do you take a big shot, but I've had that before, and probably not even as big of a hit as Bentley just took. You land on that ball, you got no wind. Yeah, Cole's right. His lineman picked him up, but he was not ready for that. Good to see him run off.
No return for Tennessee. We have another knockdown, drag-out thriller between the Volunteers and the Gamecocks. This is Jake Bentley going deep to get him on the doorstep. Brian Edwards from 73 yards to give South Carolina first and goal. They would eventually punch it in, and then Bentley would convert the two-point attempt. Ty Chandler picks up 2. The quarter will come to an end, and the home field definitely an advantage for South Carolina.
That is the end of the third quarter.
The Gamecocks have stormed back to tie this game up, but their quarterback Jake Bentley is in the injury tent. Scarnecchia getting loose. We head to the fourth. South Carolina's remaining road schedule brought to you by Pilot Flying J. This is a key one for the Gamecocks to try to protect their home turf, because outside of the trip to Ole Miss, they won't be favored in their final 2 away from home, Florida and Clemson.
Ole Miss can put up points on anybody. Florida's defense looks like they're rolling. And, oh yeah, Clemson's got 2 or 3 first-round draft picks on their defensive line and a true freshman quarterback in Trevor Lawrence that he's playing pretty good right now.
Yeah, really good.
That schedule gets tough.
We've got a tie game. 2nd and 8 as we enter the fourth quarter for Tennessee. 3-man rush. Garantano pressured with 3, shoves it out to Jordan, and Tim Jordan muscles his way to a Tennessee first down.
Tell you what, for a quarterback that's been taking as many hits as Garantano has, continually impressed this game at how easily he finds his checkdowns. Knowing where to go with the ball when everything breaks down. We saw him get checked down for a big play earlier, and right there, everything around him going crazy, has the moxie to dump it off for a positive game.
Play action, max protection, only a 2-man route. Deep ball, got behind him, and it is incomplete. Trying to find Josh Palmer. Let's get you to the studio. Here's Dari. All right, Dari, thanks. Meanwhile, Jake Bentley is out of the tent. He was on the phone a moment ago. Next to Scarnecchia on the bench. We'll see who comes back out under center for South Carolina here in the fourth quarter. Jennings in motion. Garantano goes the other way to Jordan. Through one ankle tackle. Through another! And Tim Jordan has set Tennessee up with a 3rd and 1.
Screen game again. South Carolina just has not had an answer to the receiver screens to the perimeter, to the running back screens. Key to those is tackling an open field, and they missed 2 right there.
How about the other movement, though, Jordan? They give you motion with it. They give you different looks out of it. They're not just going traditional screens and allowing you to play them. They're giving you window dressing with it as well.
3rd and officially 2. Flag on the play.
False start. Offensive line. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That is the 4th Tennessee false start.
And Tom, here's the problem, and Cole will know this too. When you go on silent cadence, The rest of the offensive line outside the center's got to know when that center's going to snap it. A lot of times in the NFL or college, you'll see the center bob his head, and that tells the offensive line, hey, it's coming now. They have no indicator from the center to tell the rest of the offensive line when that ball is getting snapped.
Tennessee has converted 6 of its last 7 third downs. This turns into a 3rd and 7. And a whistle before the snap again. Timeout taken by South Carolina. 2 minutes into the 4th quarter. Nothing has been decided. Jeremy Pruitt's team looking for another road win. It's tied late. Let's take a look at Fansville, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Always a great scene. There's Waldo right in the middle. You see where's Waldo? Try to win that one with your friends. Oh, you had him. There's another one. That guy's ready to go.
Put me in, coach.
Plenty of sandstorm tonight, maybe more. 3rd down and 7 for Tennessee. A laser to the outside. That is complete for a 1st down to Marquez Callaway.
Well, that's a big time throw from Garantano. He wanted to pull the trigger a hair earlier, hesitated. Watch this. He sees him right here, wants to pull the trigger, and then finally gets to him. It's the arm strength that gets the ball there. Opposite hash, 12-yard out there. That's one of those routes that the scouts say, hey, you can throw that. You can play at the next level.
Here's Tim Jordan. Crosses the logo before Bryson Allen Williams brings him down after a gain of 6. Tennessee has converted 8 of 11 third downs tonight.
South Carolina has been one of the best on 3rd down. That's really the game.
And it's come despite their average yard to gain on 3rd at 7.5 yards. Palmer in motion. Garantano too strong for Palmer. All right, so another 3rd down. Why has Tennessee been so efficient on 3rd down?
Well, if you think about it, on 3rd and 7+, as they've been their most efficient, teams are usually going to play some form of off zone. Not having a ton of pressure, teams are playing more coverage. Garantano has time to work through his progressions. He's talented enough. You give him time, he'll find a guy. This time, though, South Carolina is pressing, playing man on the outside.
Single safety. Here comes a blitz up the middle. Garantano chase. Got it away for a 1st down to Callaway. Bryson Allen Williams came right up the middle. He popped Garantano, but still it goes for a 1st down. It's the 2nd time that they've thrown short of the stick and turned it into a 1st down.
Quick protection. No one in the backfield. You're hot off one linebacker. And again, Garantano knowing where his answers are. We've seen the checkdowns. That's a hot throw. Knowing where your quick outlet is. Big time conversion. And again, another one. I'm not sure how he's still on 2 feet, honestly.
Callaway career high in receptions. Garantano, a career high in completions. He's 24 of 32. Tim Jordan. You know, a couple of years ago, in this game around Halloween, Tennessee broke out black jerseys. If you look at the back of Garantano's, he's kind of turning this into a black jersey tonight. Those are all the grass and sod stains that have dirtied up what was pearly white before.
I never knew how equipment staff would be able to get the stains out of white jerseys when I played. I'm not sure what kind of bleach they use, but somehow they'll get that out, as bad as it looks.
We'll borrow your Crest white strips, maybe.
Ooh.
Glowing.
Plaster those all over it.
On 2nd and 9 to Chandler. So good out of the backfield. Submarine that time by Jamias Williams. It's a gain of 3.
Notice, though, something Cole pointed out, we've talked about the misdirection. on the screens. No misdirection on that one. Linebackers flow straight to it, make a good tackle.
3rd and 7, right in their wheelhouse.
Right in their wheelhouse.
This will be the 11th play of the drive.
A lot of success on screens tonight for Tennessee. Could dial another one up here.
See if South Carolina plays off zone or like they did last time, man it up and bring some pressure.
Blitz coming from the edge. Picked up. Dropped by Marquez Callaway.
You know, guys, that's kind of like one that we talked about in cold cuts a little bit earlier in the show. Only rushing 4 there, but you get a different look. You've got a defensive tackle lined up in a zero nose, stand up, and then you get a blitz around them. But still, 4 on 5, you got to pick that up every time. Should not be any pressure on the quarterback.
It's 4th down, and the offense is still on the field. 4th and 7. Vols have converted half of their 4th down opportunities this year. Garantano tipped, incomplete, and Tennessee turns it over on downs. Javon Kinlaw got great push up front.
Great push, great job by Kinlaw getting his hands up and knocking that one down. Tennessee dials up the same play they ran on a 3rd down out of that bunch earlier in the game. And again, South Carolina good on 3rd.
Tennessee could have lined up for a 52-yard field goal. Instead, they went for it, and big Javon Kinlaw knocked it down.
Saturday night is presented by Holiday Inn Express. Be the readiest.
Ready for another thriller tonight at homecoming in South Carolina, and a return for Jake Bentley, who left the game after getting popped on the 2-point conversion. Doesn't miss a single snap. Handoff goes for a big gain, and that'll set up 2nd and a long 1. This is what happened last time South Carolina's offense was on the field.
Big hit by Kyle Phillips there. As I said, 270 pounds, coming full speed. You love the gutsiness that Bentley shows, but here he goes again.
And he keeps it, and safe at 2nd. By the way, Jackie Bradley Jr. hit a home run for the Red Sox last night in that lengthy game. Former College World Series star for Ray Tanner here in South Carolina.
How about Walker Buehler? Navy guy. What did he go, 7?
7 with 7 Ks and no walks. Even got a standing O from Sandy Koufax.
How about that?
A lot of SEC guys playing in that one. David Price pitched last night, and the Dodgers have a Puig home run. They lead 4-0 in the 7th. Bentley taking plenty of time. Now he wants a deep ball. Man coverage. It is caught. Shi Smith. Touchdown, South Carolina. The flag at the goal line. A 51-yard strike from Bentley. Officials conferring they're not sure he had control as he went to the turf.
Yeah, full speed. I tell you what, it looks like this ball hits the ground, bobbling it on the way down, and it does.
Incomplete. Now we await the flag. Balin Buchanan, son of longtime NFL safety Ray Buchanan, had the coverage.
The ruling on the field was a touchdown. The previous play is under review.
So obvious it'll be coming back. The question is how far and what the flag was on, if it was indeed PI on Buchanan.
Boy, drops have been the story for this South Carolina offense. Drops, turnovers. Mentioned earlier Deebo Samuel, Brian Edwards both had big drops on throws, 40-plus yards downfield. Shi Smith, 0 drops through his first 16 career games. Had one last week and a big one here again. This one's coming back.
Tennessee had not been flagged for pass interference or defensive holding all season, and they're going to get flagged for PI here on Buchanan. So it'll still be a positive play for South Carolina. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Again, the coverage from Buchanan on Smith.
That's being out of phase. Remember, we were talking about it with Muschamp on the South Carolina side. Out of phase there. You got to try to play the defender and rip that ball out as it's coming down.
But now what we're seeing for South Carolina the last couple possessions, after being so reliant on the run and getting everybody close, is Bentley doing Jake Bentley stuff, going deep.
Yeah. And
After review, the pass was incomplete. There was DPI on the 28 of the defense. That's a 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
DPI.
Yeah, we're going FBI, DPI, CIA, defensive pass interference. In the NFL, it would be 1st and goal at the 1. But if you're a defender in college, that's not the worst thing in the world.
No, not at all. And that's where the college game differs from the NFL game. If you're out of phase, like we saw that Tennessee defender trailing a receiver, not in position to play the ball, sometimes that pass interference is your best friend. And you'll take that as a defensive coach.
Mon Denson has entered the game at running back. Another carry for him. Fresh legs. He's down there. Let's go to Dart. All right, Dari, thanks. Meanwhile, Mon Denson with another carry. Got tripped up shy of the marker, so it leaves 3rd and 1. Huge play here for South Carolina. Denson again gets through, and then a few more. Mon Denson with a fresh set of legs. The 3rd different running back that has seen action for South Carolina. He didn't enter until the 4th quarter.
And we saw South Carolina early in the game having success running the football with 2 tight ends. Just 1 tight end in the game now, which means Tennessee's in their nickel personnel on defense. 1 less linebacker, and they're starting to find some holes.
Denson again. A little spin at the line. So midway through the 4th quarter nearly, and South Carolina turning back to the ground game to try and push and shove its way against Tennessee. Denson coming into tonight only had 10 carries for 36 yards. He's got half as many carries in the 4th quarter alone. They go right back to him, and that's snuffed out by Darren Kirkland. Third and 10. Gamecocks 4 of 7 on 3rd down tonight, but perfect in the 2nd half.
Fine Deebo Samuel going in motion there to the top of your screen. It's going to be bracketed double coverage.
Taylor and Warrior back there. Bentley goes the other way. Josh Vann brought down short to gain a 7. Balin Buchanan, who had the defensive pass interference, and that defensive pass interference saved some points.
And that's where not having Brian Edwards on the field hurts you. If you're South Carolina, they're able to double cover Deebo Samuel over there wide to the side, to the far side of the field, and Bentley's forced to go somewhere else.
Parker White has made one from 19 already tonight. This will be a 26-yard attempt to give South Carolina its first lead, officially 25. And South Carolina caps the drive with a field goal from Parker White. Tennessee decided not to attempt a long field goal. South Carolina turned them over on downs, and the Gamecocks in front with 5:52 to go. Another chance for Sandstorm after the go-ahead field goal. South Carolina leads Tennessee 27-24. This is Jake Bentley firing up the crew.
Rallying the troops, telling his defense, do your job, do your job. Reassuring them that, hey, he'll be there. If you get him off the field, this thing might be over.
The importance of this game for both squads, trying to get to a bowl. Coming into tonight, Tennessee had a 36% chance to go bowling. It would jump to 71% with a win. South Carolina's odds would improve dramatically as well.
And obviously any bowl game is great for a program, but even more so for Tennessee and Jeremy Pruitt. When you're in the middle of a rebuild, when you have so many young players, when you're still trying to change a culture, those extra practices are so valuable.
Jared Garantano kills the play that was called before. Play clock's at 2. They check to a run, and Tim Jordan spits it out the left side. Gain of 8.
Tim Jordan on the carry, out of bounds.
Love this, seeing Jarrett Garantano have some autonomy at the line of scrimmage. It's just a numbers game sometimes. You know, you look to one side of the line of scrimmage, you see 4 guys. On the other side, there's only 3. Well, let's run that way. I know that corner's adding late there, but walk to the line of scrimmage. It's a run-to-run check. You're looking for the 4-man surface, and you're running it to the opposite side.
Remember, this is a Tennessee O-line operating without Trey Smith, who was the #1 recruit in the nation when he signed a couple of years ago. Garantano pumps and goes, and I don't know if he made it. That hole closed awfully fast in the quarterback.
South Carolina starting to figure things out. That was a bubble screen to the receiver on the wide side there, but South Carolina defender split the difference, and Garantano throws that. It's going the other way.
3rd and less than a yard. Javon Kinlaw will be right on top of the ball for South Carolina. Garantano under center. QB sneak. Garantano got it.
Quarterback keeper. He's at the first down for Tennessee.
Four and a half to go. Tennessee has 3 timeouts.
Jeremy Pruitt, one of the big themes when we talked to him was finding guys that are willing to fight. You're going to learn a lot about your team here. 4 minutes and 15 seconds left. Down 3. Find out who's willing to raise their level of play and fight a little extra.
Here's Juwan Jennings. And he's fighting for extra yardage. Injured player is Jamias Williams. I think overall, Jeremy Pruitt would be proud of the effort that his team put out there tonight. And the Tennessee fans are seeing a better effort than they saw against Alabama. You watch the injury. Williams making the tackle. And when we return, we'll share with you what Jeremy Pruitt's dad had to say after that Alabama debacle. It was not very flattering.
ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Speaking of effort, Jeremy Pruitt's dad, Dale, longtime high school head coach, was so disgusted by Tennessee's performance against Alabama. Jeremy told us he left the game early, and then he didn't call his son until Wednesday after the game. The message was simple. What you put on the field is the kind of coach you are. And that was a terrible coaching job. I asked him, how did you respond to your dad? He said, yes, sir. This much better from an effort and execution standpoint. On 2nd and 6, Garantano lobs one off the hands of Marquez Callaway. And I know there are no moral victories, and I get it. And I know that Jeremy Pruitt is wildly competitive and wants to win every single play, if not every single game. But the effort, especially on the road, the last 2 games at Auburn and here tonight, shows that they're going in the right direction.
Absolutely. When you're trying to improve a team and make corrections and get better every week, you can't evaluate guys that aren't giving effort. The 22, 25, 30 guys that we've seen on the field tonight, they're playing at a different level than we've seen the past few weeks.
It shows on 3rd down. This is 3rd and 6. 4-man rush. Crossing route. Callaway spins his way to a first down and takes it to midfield. That's a gain of 13. Why have those routes been so effective on third down?
Well, you see off-zone coverage there. It's a great answer for both things, either man coverage or off-zone. You steal those linebackers' eyes, you get it in your playmakers' hands behind the sticks, albeit, and trust they're going to make a play and get you a first down.
Garantano career high in completions. Going to the screen and incomplete. Jennings was the intended receiver, and there's a couple of black shirts all over him.
But you've seen a lot of control from Tyson Helton in the type of routes he's calling for Garantano. Obviously, we've seen a ton of screens, but on 2 third downs now, we've seen slants out of a bunch of formations, and now again, twice, we've seen crossing routes or rub routes, getting guys right in front of Jarrett Garantano. Comfortable, easy reads. He's able to make quick decisions, and it's working.
Slicing his way forward is Ty Chandler, a gain of 5. Under 3 minutes remaining. Tennessee down a field goal.
Tom, it's 2 yards too many there.
Right.
3rd and 5. They need 3rd and 7.
Garantano on third down has been wildly efficient. 9 of 11 for 82 yards and 8 first downs. On play action. Pressured. Stays on his feet. Finally goes down. He made it back to the line of scrimmage. Officially not a sack. T.J. Brunson, the emotional leader of the South Carolina team, made the stop.
Pocket constricted around Garantano here as Bryson Allen Williams provides the initial pressure. Brunson cleans it up, and now in no man's land, Tennessee is going to go for it.
They're 0 for 1 on 4th down tonight. Here's your game. Blitz coming up the middle. Play was whistled and movement.
That's going to be another false start.
False start. Offense, number 84. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
That is the 5th false start penalty on Tennessee tonight.
Interesting decision. I mean, you do have 3 timeouts. This isn't a, I know there's a minute 30 left. You could punt the ball.
Get a stop, get it back.
Exactly.
Use all your timeouts.
With the way South Carolina's been running the football?
I feel you. I get you, Cole. I know.
Clock is running. 1:20 to go. South Carolina drops 8. Garantano gets taken down. Ball's loose. No whistle. South Carolina scoops it up. Javon Kinlaw ends up with it after DJ Wonnum snuck up from behind and popped Garantano.
Just a 3-man rush there.
Ruling on the field as a fumble recovered by the defense. 1st down, South Carolina.
Garantano hit snooze on that internal clock.
Yeah. I know you have a limited rush here as you're going to see just 3 guys rushing the quarterback. DJ Wonnum working on the right side of your screen and just relentless around the edge. Your internal clock has got to be ticking. Either run that football or let it go.
He went around Marcus Tatum, who's starting in place of Trey Smith.
I will say, though, I think Tennessee, or South Carolina rather, got away with one because I think Tatum moved a hair before that snap. South Carolina coaches were calling for it on the sideline. Another false start would have erased that. So actually South Carolina catches the break.
Even Smokey can't believe it.
Fumble recovered by the defense. The previous play is under review.
Jeremy Pruitt having a conversation with Nigel Warrior.
Runner was down. The ball was there. The ball will be placed at the 47-yard line. First down, South Carolina.
So turnover on downs anyway. But this will be a difference in yardage of 16 yards. Tennessee has the 3 timeouts, like you were saying before they went for it on 4th down. It's just a matter of field position if they are.
And that's a big call right there, right? Because South Carolina in field goal range. If Tennessee stops them here, South Carolina either going to have to go for it or punt it. So
game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 108. 108 on the game clock.
And the benefit of the review is Jeremy Pruitt was essentially handed a free timeout to get Nigel Warrior and the other guys lined up properly. So 68 seconds left in the game. Tennessee needs some stops. You got the 3 timeouts left. The running back is Tyson Williams. And Williams into the pile. Picks up 1. Timeout taken with 1:04.
First charge timeout of the half, Tennessee. This will be a 30-second timeout.
All right, so a chance to talk about it for Tennessee, and not exactly where they want to be, but the fact that they have a chance here. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. So let's see Tennessee gets this ball back. You got Jarrett Garantano, who's been slinging it tonight, a career high in completions. What do they go to?
Your big physical targets on the outside, Juwan Jennings, Marquez Callaway, those are your 50-50 guys. Got to push the ball downfield, get chunks, but this defense got to come up with a stop first. I'd be worried if I'm Tennessee at loading the box. I know you have to, but if Jake Bentley pulls one of those on an RPO, that could be the game. So you got to be tight on the outside and stout up front.
How risky does South Carolina want to be? 2nd and 9. Crosby, the tight end, in motion. Here's a toss to Rico Dowdle. He's got room. A first down could seal it. A touchdown would. And Warrior finally shoves him out of bounds. It's a 30-yard run. It came on 2nd down.
Little toss power here. Zach Bailey, the left guard. Great block on the outside. Keel Pollard as well. That's the same play that scored a touchdown on the opposite end of the field here. And that will just about do it.
Zach Bailey showing you why he's one of the best guards in the SEC on that play.
A career high 140 for Rico Dowdle.
Yeah, Cole 6'6", 314, getting on the outside perimeter there, making a block and then continuing to run on a game-sealing, potentially, game-sealing run.
Tennessee stops the clock with 50 seconds left.
We'll be able to stop it.
Timeout of the half, Tennessee.
They'll stop it
30-second timeout.
one more time, but that won't be enough.
Here's the day of Jake Bentley.
Start off a little rocky. They were running the football. Only 27 passing yards just before halftime. Got things going a little bit. And then a couple chunk plays. Finding Brian Edwards. And oh yeah, calling his own number as well. Taking a lick, getting up. He's had a day.
His dad hasn't used the clippers since Jake said, you know what, Dad, I'm going to go pay for my haircuts now. His brother said it's time to grow up. Start getting professional haircuts.
Weird that he got a girlfriend right around that same time, too.
It's been about a year. 11 of 16 through the air tonight. Victory formation for South Carolina. The only mystery remaining for South Carolina is if they fill in that December 1st spot in the calendar with the game. Marshall was the game was canceled back on September 15th.
Tom, I spoke to Ray Tanner, the athletic director, before the game about that. He said he's working diligently towards it. They have a couple teams that are very interested. He said he should have a lot more information tomorrow on that situation, but obviously some of it fluid depending on what happens with some other teams down the road, them potentially playing in their conference championship games.
Yeah, because Marshall coming into this weekend was in second place in their division in Conference USA, so they may not be willing to commit to something like that when they got a USA title game. I have a suggestion.
What was that?
Well, didn't Nebraska lose a game?
They did.
And Nebraska's not going to be playing for a Big Ten title, right?
Nope.
They got their first win of the season today. So, oh, my bad. Nebraska played Bethune-Cookman today as a makeup, so that's take
right.
it off the calendar. 2nd and 8, and they're going to run it, and Tennessee will stop the clock again. Tyson Williams paid for that one. The clock stops with 46 seconds left.
Third and final charge time of the half.
Here's what's left for South Carolina.
Full timeout.
It's obviously a winnable game at Ole Miss. They'll be favored there. And it's not just getting to a bowl, but then positioning yourself for a good bowl, not a great one. Got to go to Florida, to Clemson to close out the season Thanksgiving weekend.
Tell you what, one thing I was looking for at the beginning of this game was some balance, something that offensive coordinator Brian McClendon mentioned for South Carolina. Jake Bentley plays best when there's balance. He doesn't feel like he's got to put a cape on every play and make something happen. That's when those turnovers happen. Well, 232 rushing yards today. I think they found a little balance.
Think about the fact you're starting a freshman right tackle, first start of his career, and you had to sub your left tackle that's been starting for you all season as well, and you're able to be that successful on the ground.
It also seems like they solved the drops issue. And you mentioned putting on a cape. The message has been just do your job. Don't try to do too much. And sometimes those receivers, Edwards and Samuel, have been trying to do a lot. Bentley takes a hit, trying to backpedal to burn more clock. And that'll do it.
Burned just enough.
That is a smart play.
Yeah, getting that
If he
just
takes an
under
immediate
40.
knee, you might leave 3 seconds. 16th win for Jake Bentley as the starting quarterback at South Carolina. He has said, sometimes my emotions get the best of me. It's easy when I'm up. I've got to be careful when I'm down that I don't bring the team down. But there's no question he's the leader of this squad. Will Muschamp remains perfect against Tennessee. Now 7-0 all time, including a 4-0 record, and he was the head coach of the Gators.